Hey everybody, hope you are doing well. It is Monday evening. Sorry, it is, like I said, 7:30-ish, heavy on the ish tonight. We've got a little stray kitty outside, and so um, Nelson has been making sure that it is eating well because my hubby is one of those people with a very, very soft heart when it comes to animals. Oops, and I got that sound on. Hang on. There we go. Huh, you don't want to hear me say that twice, right? Whew, okay. Hi, I am Brenda Sellers, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I do have the stamp sets and I don't have the dies over here, but I don't think we're going to be cutting tonight. Maybe not, we'll see. I want to show you a couple of stamp sets that are in a suite together. I can grab the catalog and we will get started. I'll show you those and some basic white. I forgot that. Kind of need that, right? And let's grab a piece of yellow. Very vanilla. All right. Oh, catalog. Hi, Jeannie. All right, share this screen. Let's see how close I've got my camera to the right spot. Advanced. Oh, it's pretty close. We're going to go with that. All right, so we're playing with these two stamp sets. Amber Autumn. I love the images and the font in that. And Autumn Trees. And we're going to play with this one first because I got an idea. But let me show you where it is in the catalog. It actually is a suite. And it starts on page 38. There's, oh, that's Aurora stuff. Okay, Autumn Toile. So it tells us it coordinates with Cajun Craze, Mossy Meadow, Pecan Pie, Early Espresso, Very Vanilla, and Gray Granite. So those images, here is all of the products in that suite. I think I have those dots, but I've been using different ones. I love this paper. Here's a close-up of it. And then it goes on over to these pages. And I might leave that one turned so we can do those measurements. We shall see. But there's some ideas to use some room decor and such. But let's get stamping. That's why you come, right? Those are different color. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the correct dots that go with that. I know that I have them. I have gone through my stamp sets, my dies, my embellishments are next because they're driving me batty. There. Oh, I bet I know where they're at. Are you right here? Nope. Found them. And a wayward piece of designer series paper from the project I did last night. Look how pretty those are. Streaked dots. We are going to play with those. All right, so for the first one, we're going to make this big old tree. I'm going to grab a big old block. Needs to be bigger than that big old block. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. Sometimes the fulfillment center will put a little surprise in your box when you place an order. And look, isn't that gorgeous? I know it's a kit card, but you know what? It made my day when I opened that box and I found a card from the fulfillment center. I love it. So it's on display up here beside me. I can see it. And then also, I got this card using the daisies. Look what she did with the daisy. Isn't that gorgeous? And then she put her note on a sticky so that I could reuse it. I was like, oh, that's not getting used. That's mine. So it is also, oh, and look what else she did. When she handed me the envelope, I felt the back. She embossed the envelope flap. Isn't that cool? Way to go, Sherry. You're going to have to show us this. Gonna have to watch you do it or somebody do it, but that's right up there where I can see it all the time. And so I needed to share those two things with you. All right, let's get us a piece of designer's. No, basic white. We're gonna start all wrong tonight. We are starting with a piece of basic white that is, okay, I can see what size we need. Y'all, it's warm in here because I've been outside. Let me turn my fan on. Yay. Mark that down in history. Brenda doesn't usually say it's warm, but my friend Beck would love it because I know that it is warmer here than it is in Australia. So I did 5 1/4 and I'm doing by 4. I can always make it go smaller. I can't add to it. But let's start with that piece. And we're going to start with our block and our stamp on it. I'm going to grab an orange, mossy meadow, and darling duckling. Let's grab those ink pads. And I think I want pumpkin pie and mossy meadow. Where are you? That's okay. The light so that you can see me is right in front of those. So we're going to play with these because, you know, the leaves are changing. And we're going to start with our lightest color first. Oh, we need a brown. Pecan pie. We'll do that last. So here's our darling duckling. Get some on there. This is a new technique. Let's just smear some of that on here. Because it's the lightest color, I'm going to go all over here. Grab some orange, otherwise known as pumpkin pie. Not all over. I'm just going to kind of pounce it on there. And then our mossy meadow. That really got some right there. And our tree trunk. I'm doing it closer to this end because there's less of a lip. And then as our friend Sharon Armstrong says, huff on it. That kind of remoistens the ink. And take lessons from my other friend, Kevin, who always says his name is wonderful, but we're going to say, I see 3 people watching, and I know that Jeannie is one of those. So Jeannie is wonderful. Watcher number 2 is wonderful, and watcher number 3 currently is wonderful. So you put your name in those spots. And look what that did. Isn't that cool? I love it. Can you see it good? I hope so. The tree trunk gave it some definition. You can't really see the yellows, but you can see the pumpkin pie. You can see, let's do it again. Let's just do it again. There's 5 1/4 by 4. Fun. Okay. All right. Darling duckling. Let's see if we can get a little bit more of that on there this time. Staying away from the green. Out here on the edge, because I know I didn't get any there. That might have enough on it. And our tree trunk. Puffin', I'll blow your house down. Not really. Just let it sit on there for a few minutes and that paper will absorb that ink. That one's a little darker. I love them both. See how different they are though? You can see a little bit more of the darling duckling right there. All right, let's cut those out and use both of those on a card. Close these up or we know that I will put my hand in them and that would not be fun. All right, die cut. Let's lay this over here. I'll clean it up in a minute. I like to store my dies on magnetic sheets because I can't get them off very easily of those cardboard pieces that they come on. And quite honestly, I'll just tell you, they drive me buggy. And I know that if they stay on those, I won't use them. So the first time I pull out my dies to use them, I turn around and I grab a magnetic sheet from my drawer. I look at the container that I store my dies in, and I grab an envelope. They are not perfectly the little tabs standing up down through there, but they're pretty close. I keep them staggered enough so that I can see what I've got easy and just flip through them. So I know that you've heard that Stampin' Up! Is coming out with some new storage soon. I will still use my magnetic sheets unless they come out with a magnetic sheet, which they have not said that they are. Hi, Donna. Thanks for jumping on and watching tonight. I'm playing with the dies and I showed a new technique on using a blending brush directly on these red rubber stamps that are also going to be discontinued soon. If they are in the catalog, they are good through the end of that catalog. So that should help. And if you are a hobbyist or a collector of all things good, you don't have anything to worry about. You can just, I love trees, you guys. And I'll tell you, I had the Lovely as a Tree set. I think I was nice and let my friend have it who hadn't gotten it. It'd been around for, I don't know how many years, 20 years probably, and she still hadn't gotten it, but she missed it. And wanted to have it, and I think I had it. It was a wooden set. So I'm pretty sure I let my friend have it. All right, now for our pieces and parts to go with that card, let's go with, put it on early espresso. There's my snaps. Here is the designer series paper. So it's up close and personal. Should be another color. Oh, I used the other one. It looks like this. So that should have sheets of that, but I used it. You need to go right there out of the way for a minute. Let's flip these over. I'm not going to use the back of that just yet. Let's use that one. And I want my strappies to go up and down, so I'm going to cut this at 4. And that corner is bent, and it drives me buggy. So I'll turn it this way. Go back over there with your friends. By 5 1/4. So the new online exclusives are the ones where in November is where it's coming out with the new stamp cases and that kind of stuff. So you don't have anything to worry about currently. Just know that it is coming. And guess who did not bring a bone folder over here? And she has 2 over there. That there, and that there, and then we'll need a sentiment. It helps if you put adhesive that holds it in place. I use Stampin' Seal, but if you have a favorite adhesive, use that. Use what makes your heart happy, because when you are crafting, your heart needs to be happy. And I know sometimes we're crafting because we're making a card that might not be too happy, but still know that you are brightening someone's day, even if it is for a sympathy card, is basically what I'm thinking about. Because they need to know that you're thinking about them too. And it gives them a bright little glimmer in such a sad part of their life. And that's all I'm going to say about that. All right. And yes, my friends, I use a lot of dimensionals. Yes, this too shall pass. Donna, one of my favorite sayings is when I'm going through a hard spot, sometimes, like you just said, the red rubber stamps are going away, starting with the online exclusives that roll out in November. She says, this too shall pass. My favorite saying is, this too shall pass. It may be passing like a kidney stone, which I've watched my mama deal with them for a lot, and they're horrible. So it might pass like a kidney stone, but we'll get through it. All right, there's that one. Let's see what sentiment we can use. Let's just use that pretty little thanks. No, you're simply the best. Because I haven't used that one yet. See, it's still in there. I'm not going to show you how to mount the stamp backing on it because you kind of know how to do that. Well, let's use this one. It's smaller. And look who's got a piece of basic white right there waiting on her. Simply the best. There's a song, isn't it? Isn't there? Who sings it? Um, then let's go like this. I'm rattling about all kinds of things. Hope you had a fun weekend. I got to spend the majority of it right here in my craft room. Had an amazing weekend. Hubby and I did go. I think I just put that on the wrong side. I did. It needs to go over there. We went to the Tennessee Valley Fair and walked around. That one is not coming off like it's supposed to because somebody pushed it down hard. All right, let's try this again. This side. Keep your finger on it. Don't let, there we go. And what else did we do? Walked around the fair. Um, Obviously all the little fair vendors, and Nelson saw a hot dog priced for $8. He did not buy one of those, but the smell of the food was so enticing. But he did not buy himself an $8 hot dog. And right there, and let's put one up there, a little. Let's do a little one. All right, there's that. Of course, we're gonna put a piece of basic white on the inside, 4 by 5 1/4, so that I don't have to use a piece of our gel pen to write on. All right, next. What one? We've already used that, but we can, let's create a scene. Let's stamp this little guy and that thing of rocks, because we haven't used them before. Oh, we used the deer, or somebody did, and these rocks. And the deer is going to be pecan pie, and I'm going to do the rocks. I know what I'm going to do. We're going to have some more fun with our blending brush. So our rocks, gray granite. And then Mossy Meadow is the bottom one. And stamp it right here. See what that did. I got my brown or gray granite rock, and I've got my green grass. Perfect. And now let's do an early espresso buck deer. Where are you? I'm gonna have all my colors down here. You have to get some fair food. It's outrageous. Yes. Um, your hot dogs were 5. Well, you got a better deal than we did. Bad influence on the grandkids. No, you're teaching him about the good things in life. And fair food could be one of those. I will say that I did have some Cruise Farm ice cream. I got a waffle cone, and Nelson would tell you that Peanut butter should not be on anything, but I had a scoop of peanut butter ice cream and a scoop of chocolate in a waffle cone. It goes there. Here is our deer. And it looks like this one. Yep. So let's trim this so we're not, my plates are well loved, so I don't want to get that piece all wrinkly. Hold it in place. I love my little flag Post-it notes. Line the die up as you want it. Pop that down. That's still in place. Run her through. These plates are well used. You knew you liked me. The peanut butter ice cream gotcha. I remember going after church, and Dad would, in the wintertime is when we would get our ice cream. But if we would go to like where there were milkshakes or something, it was a peanut butter milkshake. And that was one of my favorite things. Sonic peanut butter milkshakes. And my husband would beg to differ, but I like my peanut butter milkshakes. All right, so we have the top part of our card. Let's use a different back. Actually, let's just use this one. Yep, that'll work. Put it at 4. We're at 5 1/4. And I'll still go to Sonic sometimes and get my peanut butter milkshakes. Oh, still need this. And I've got some pecan pie card base. Remember, if you're starting with your 8.5 by 11 cardstock, score it at 4 1/4, and that way you can cut 2 card bases at the same time. So as my friend Julie says, park the dark, score, flip it to 5 1/2. Yep, you can see the measurements. And cut it. And now you have 2 card bases in less work. Go ahead and oh, we also took my truck for its maintenance this weekend. That was fun. Thankfully, hubby was home and we could take it and drop it, and then they called when it was ready, so we didn't have to stay and wait. So I got to spend that time in the craft room instead of in their little lobby freezing myself because, I don't like being cold. And that place is always cold. Let's see if I can try this again. Have friends, and I see other demonstrators that can, yeah, I can't do it. I will keep practicing though. I just cannot make, well, that one's already off. I cannot get them to stay on my take your pick tool. That kind of makes it look like it's all in the forest. All right, let's put this little guy right here. So I need a dot right there. Dimensional, Brenda, dimensional. And we learned our lesson. We keep our finger where we don't want the dimensional. And then let's put our little deer right there so it can go in the middle of his body. When you are taking your dimensionals off of your sheet, do you do it in a straight line like somebody did there, or do you do it in an angle? And is there a particular reason that you do it in that way? What's this? We're just going to stamp another You're Simply the Best. And I think it right there. It did. Woo! And that, my friends, is why you don't throw away all of your scraps. And then you get to trim around it. As close to or as far away as you want. Let me round that corner a little bit. And let's just stick that right up there. Okay. Now, is that card too busy for you? Or as my other friends would say, too busy? Kind of like it. Let's grab some of these little cool guys. And they're big and bulky. So let's pop one right there. And here. I'm putting them where I don't have it popped up on dimensionals so that there's a mosquito in here. Go away, dude. And nope, I didn't get him. All right, there is card 1 and 2. I like trees too. And I really like that shape of the trees. But the other tree that we've got, I like it too. I just like trees. I just like trees. All right, so let's do one each of those. And then we'll be done for tonight. And let's do that saying. Yes. All right, this one I'm going to do a little bit different. Let's use our card base that we got there. Actually, we're not going to use both of those. One or the other. We'll do it in a minute. But let's do this card that's floating in my head. And let me see if I got scraps. Yes. Perfect. Keep my scraps in those pouches so that I don't pull out a huge piece to start with. So we're going to fold this 8.5 by 11, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to lay that there. We're going to get our soft seafoam. And we are going to cut that at 5 1/4. by 4. That little piece doesn't get saved. And then we're going to cut a little piece of this. I have to use that piece. Okay. And we're going to cut this piece this direction at 2.5. Works. That is, if I make that, hang on. Okay, 4 3/4. So 5 by 2 3/4. 1/4 of an inch bigger, and then that gives us a cute little layer. Pulls out those pieces, the oranges and the pumpkins. And I need a Cajun Craze base because that's bugging me. We're not using the pecan pie. So you need to be 5.5. I believe it's already 8.5. Yep. So we need to score it at 4 1/4. Leave our dark part. You guys get to go over there. And oh, I do have some. Yay. Oh, come out of there. You guys have a great way that you store your ribbon. Will you share it with me? Because I've tried multiple ways of sharing my ribbon or storing it, and I have yet to come up with a way that I absolutely love. All right, Cajun Craze. I told you I'm going to have all the colors down here. You're all over the place with dimensionals. Okay, me too. All right, let's take this right here. And notice I stamped this before I put it on our card base. That way, if I stamped it incorrectly, I can have 2 sides with my magic paper. Right. Let's put this on here. And this, whatever it's called, it says polyester. What's it called over here? Irregular weave trim. I will tell you, it's gorgeous. It does not tie well. So for that reason, I'm going to find its little end right here, and I did. And we're just going to wrap some around it. Again. And back up here. Over there, out of the way. It just gives it the little bit of illusion that it's, all right, don't look too close. But I know that it won't stick with Stampin' Seal. So grab another adhesive and hold that stuff in place until you can get it on your card base or card front. All right, now the Stampin' Seal. Make it have equal margins, top, side, side. And then isn't that pretty? Let's do a big one and a little one right here. Where did you go? Oh, right here. And let's put this one up here. There we go. That's card number 3 for tonight. All right, and now one more and we'll be done. So we've already got our pecan pie folded. Let's get us a back. Let's use too dark. Shuffling through the papers. Let's do the little foxies. Okay. So let's cut this at 5 because I'm going to do a mat with early espresso. By 3 3/4. I just cut that wrong. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. All right. You lay right there for a second. So 5 1/4 by 4. I did. So this needs to be 5 this direction. And by 3 3/4. Yep. And I want the majority of the little boxes. All right, there's that. Silly bugs, I tell you. I know that it's getting cooler outside, and I don't know if I just don't know what brings gnats in the house. But there's no food out here. I do have a peace lily. Let's use some of this trim again. And then we'll just put a sentiment on it. And we will let our designer series paper do our work for us. That's just Scotch tape to hold my trim down because that trim does not adhere well. Doesn't tie good, all the things. But there's ways to play with it and use it. All right. And we're not using those. I do have videos using both of those. So please find those and let's do what sentiment? Let's do blessed to have you in my life and let's use Cajun Craze again. And we'll square it up. Actually, let's use early espresso. Do I have that one down? Somewhere. Lid. Because that's darker than Cajun Craze, I don't have any qualms about stamping over it. Pretty. All right. And let's, because I can't cut straight, make this one be a little straighter. That looks like it's straight there, but let's. And if you'll notice on my paper trimmer, I put a piece of Heron tape there so I could see the numbers along this side. And that helps me if I'm cutting just down so far on a thing, there's a little line right there that tells me where to stop. So that's at 1 inch and so forth all the way down. And having that piece of Terran tape right here has helped me be able to see the numbers on this side of my paper trimmer. You're welcome. And it was not my idea. I won't own that one. It was a friend's, of course. And I know I just straightened that up, but I wanted it crooked. And dimensionals. And let's do one in the middle. I know it'll probably hold it with just 3. And it probably would have held it with just 3 right down the middle. But I don't want it saggy. It sounded like a whiny little kid. I don't want my stuff saggy. Let's put it right here. And some pretty bling. One. These are big. 2. 3. Always odd numbers. There was 176 of the streak dots on there, and they're 5 mm and 6 mm. But they do bump up, and your mailman might not like it very much. But if you put a piece of cardstock over top of it and drop it in the mail, he doesn't really know what's bumping it up. And what he doesn't know won't cost us more. All right, there is the last card we did. And the one before that. And the first one and the second one. Ha! Almost all in the view of the camera. Let's slide it up a little bit. All right. I hope that you enjoyed the card party tonight. If you like these and you want the cardstock material to make them, I cannot send stamped images, but place an order and we'll see what happens. If you place an order of $40, I will send you the cardstock and the designer series paper. I can't send stamped images, but I can send the consumables to be able to create this. And there may be an extra little fun, either bling or ribbon in the pack for you. All right, have a great night and thank you for watching. Let me stop the screen share. I think those turned out pretty good. This is the focus for this week, so you might see me pop on and do a late night later, making one card with some of this. I enjoy fall. I love the colors. I think that's what it is. The temperatures start to cool down. I am not one that likes to bundle up in sweatshirts and such. I just don't like being cold, but I also don't like the bulk of a heavy jacket or something. So yes, I'm a little persnickety. So as long as I'm comfortable, we're okay, right? Okay. Have a great night, everybody. Again, if you place a $40 order, I'll send you the materials, the consumables to make these. So you get the cardstock and the designer series paper. I can't send stamped images, but look, there's not very many. Like if you've already got a tree, you could use your tree. All right, have a great night. And I know that the catalog does not do that designer series paper justice. And this is one of my favorites. And that's probably why I've used most all of that one. So, all right, have a great night. And I will chat with you again soon and look for some fun stuff coming up. We'll talk to you later. Have a great night. Do something fun for you. Bye for now.